Previously on X-Men.
Stay tuned and let's check out this Marvel Legends X-Men VHS boxed Wolverine. Pow and welcome back to the channel, Dan Who Reviews. As always, my name is Dan W. Make sure you are following me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. And remember, you can now hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Quite simply show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. Today we are taking a look at the Marvel Legends X-Men VHS boxed Wolverine. Now, this was first shown to us along with Jubilee, but the first one we got in hand was actually Mr. Sinister. So review is already on the channel and comparisons to come. But first, let's just take a moment to appreciate what this is. This is, of course, Hasbro's and Marvel Legends tribute to that 90s X-Men animated show that we all love so much. Definitely hits that nostalgia spot. But what's great is that Disney Plus is actually bringing that exact show back with the continued continuity in 2023. So it's the perfect time for Marvel Legends to jump on our nostalgia and release this tribute packaging in this VHS box set style, which I have grew to actually love a lot more than I thought I was going to, especially now I've got a couple in hand. And today is Wolverine, who is no less than an A-lister no matter what X-Men team he is in. But as I said, that animated show is a lot of people's jumping on point for the X-Men. So even if you already have those comic book figures, now you have an opportunity to get a more animated, accurate look. And it also gives people a jumping on point who want to build an X-Men team who may have missed out on some of those previous comic book characters. So as you can see from the packaging, it is windowless. It is a completely cardboard, plastic-free packaging from Hasbro, and it gives them the opportunity to have this really nice graphic on the front of Wolverine, which, as I said, is in the gimmick of that VHS box, which, as you can see, if I spin it all the way around, you can start creating your library. On the back of the box, we're getting that digital render, as well as a write-up that reads: his adamantium claws slash through steel. His mutant healing abilities mends the worst wounds. He's Wolverine, the best at what he does, and what he does best is fight mutants. And as I said, he's a lot of people's favourite, and he's Marvel Legends' favourite as well, because we have had a lot of Wolverines. But I'll get into that in a second. But there it is, the VHS box set packaging. And as I said, when I got Mr. Sinister, the size of the box surprised me. I thought he would be in the same sort of box size as we get with the Army Builders. But as you can see from this Army Builder scroll, it is not. It's much bigger and like massive compared to it. So yeah, this box set is actually really nice. And if you compare it to Mr. Sinister, they're actually the same size in length. It is just a different size and thickness. So when you're posing them all up, they're all going to look really nice on the shelf, especially when you start doing that. And I like how the heroes are facing the villains as well. You can just see Mr. Sinister's a little bit thicker, but as I said, the same scale. So they're going to fit nicely together on a display. As I said, now I feel like I need to go and buy a VHS player if I'm going to have these on the shelf. But there you go. That's how they look. And so far, so good. One good guy, one bad guy. We know we got Jubilee to come and Storm, and hopefully some reveals shortly. We shall see. But today is all about Wolverine. And as I've already alluded to, Wolverine is a popular guy in Marvel Legends form. We have had a lot. We have not just had 1, 2, 3, 4. We've had a lot, as you can see, a lot of Wolverines. And I will do my best to go through the relevant comparisons today. So without further ado, let's get them open. Here we have Wolverine out of the packaging, and it's nice to see that he does in fact come with some accessories as well. So we've got an interchangeable head, interchangeable set of hands, and then a very nice Easter egg from the show. We actually have a picture frame of Cyclops and Jean Grey from that Wolverine meme, and I will explain all. But first, let's just take a look at the figure itself, because a lot of people are going to ask the question, will this guy fit into a comic display? Because that cel shading is basically the big difference here with these VHS figures. They are meant to be representations of the X-Men from that 90s animated show. So with a few tweaks to the previous Marvel Legends Wolverine, does it do the job? And I think they've done a pretty good job, because let's face it, all they've done here is change the head. We've got new claws, and then we have that sort of dark orange cel shading over the yellow uniform, which sort of gives it that animated feel. We've even got some dark blues there as well. To be honest, comparing it there, they've done a pretty good job with only those few differences. But if I bring in a couple of the Tiger Stripe Wolverines we already have from Marvel Legends, you can see here we've got the Love Triangle, and then we've got the first Apocalypse Wave Build-A-Figure version. We've also also got the 80th anniversary version, but these two are the main ones. And as you can see, it's that same base body, but now we have a new head and new claws. But let's do a straight up comparison. And now you can see all three spinning around. You'll be able to take a better look at the differences. So the very first one, as we can see there on the left, is the Apocalypse Wave version, which has the sort of metallic blue, and it's more of a dark orange than it is yellow, but it's still pretty good. And then we got the Love Triangle one, which is much more of a yellow, and then the blue's less metallic, and that was probably my favorite to date. But this new one in the middle there, that VHS version, that is undoubtedly my mind's eye version of Wolverine. I definitely prefer the bigger cowl. It just stands out a lot more, and the sort of cell shading isn't as predominant as I thought it was gonna be, so I actually quite like it. It is darker to one side because of how the shadow hits the figure. I think that's done intentionally, of course, but I think it looks pretty good. But the main differences, as I said, are the heads, which you can see, but also the claws. And if you take a closer look, you can see they've actually got these new sculpted claws compared to the previous ones, where they'd actually come out of the hand and they'd be very fiddly and leave holes in the wrists, where these new ones are sculpted in, but they're not perfect either. Mine were a little bit warped out of packaging, so still require a little bit of work to get them looking straight, but I appreciate them at least trying to make the difference there and trying to make an improvement. But as you can see, all three of them are still great versions of Wolverine. So for me personally, can I fit this Wolverine into a comic display? I think you could if that silent shading doesn't bother you, but my OCD in my brain knows it's meant to be an animated version, so I'm not going to be able to mix it with my comic display. For me, it's going to be its own separate animated X-Men display, but that's me. I'm a crazy idiot, don't be like me. I do think people out there that are less OCD will be able to nicely fit this into a comic display for sure. And quickly, here we have all of the Tiger Stripe Wolverines we've got in this new Marvel Legends era. This one here is the 80th anniversary that came in the Hulk 2-pack. I've just swapped out the head to have a Logan head on there. I think the head actually came with a Love Triangle pack. But as you can see, I've got 4 of the same figure. I needed a bit of variety. But you let me know in the comments below, which is your favourite version of Tiger Stripe Wolverine. Now, with all that out the way, let's take a closer look at this brand new head sculpt, because as you can tell, the cowl is a lot longer than any previous incarnation of Wolverine we've had before. It's going to stand out a lot more on a display, and it is accurate to what we've seen on the animated show as well. So you've got this nice big long cowl, you've got a solemn face with just skin tone painted on the face, and then you've got the whited out eyes. Unfortunately, I seem to have a bit of a black line on the crease of his nose, which I don't think should be there, but I can live with it a little bit. And as you can see, if I spin it to the side, you can see a little bit of the dark orange cell shading up on the head, more so on the back there, behind the cowl. But there you go. From the front facing, we've got a solemn sort of Logan Wolverine with the new long cowl. But we do have an interchangeable head sculpt with an expression that is a lot more familiar for our Marvel Legends Wolverines, as a lot of the previous ones share this same sort of grimacing, gritted teeth, angry expression. But you know I appreciate options, and now that's exactly what we've got. We can have angry Wolverine or sort of neutral Wolverine, and both have that elongated cowl. They same have the whited out eyes, both got the same shell shading. It is literally just a difference in the mouth expression. But let's talk about silent shading for a second, because that is the key thing about these animated figures. That's what sets them apart from their comic counterparts. And a lot of people are going to ask, can these fit into a comic display? So let's show you where the cell shading is first and foremost. So it's like the light is on him this way, because it creates all the dark orange shadows on this side of the body. So let me zoom back in, and you can see we got a lot of dark orange on the sort of abs and musculature of the front of the figure, all the way up onto the sort of neck from the butterfly joints, continuing to the head like I've already showed you, down onto the legs from the outside into the inside. So on this side of the body, you get a lot of dark orange to create those shadows. On this side though, however, you can see the legs are more so yellow, and there is a little bit where the sort of shadows would be created by his arm underneath here, but it's still lesser. And again, not much on the boots. There is a bit of dark blue on the crotch though, more so on this side. Same with some dark blue up here on the shoulder pads. And then if I spin it around to the back, you'll notice sort of no shell shading at all. From this angle, you can't see any. It is just on the sort of one side and then a little bit there. There is some here on the wrists as well, to be fair. But again, it's not as bad as I thought it could be. Like when I first heard cell shading, I was like, that's not what I want on my Marvel Legends. But now I sort of understand what this line is. I do think as this line continues to grow, we will slowly appreciate the look as we add more characters to the shelf. So far, we've only Wolverine and Mr. Sinister. We know we've got Jubilee and Storm and who knows who else. But I do think as the collection grows, we will also grow to appreciate the cell shading. And once we've got a whole team set up, I think it will look really nice. So don't sleep on these figures if you're on the fence. Get on now, especially when you get FOMO next year when the show's back out. Unfortunately, the pins though, we've still got pins on this old figure. They are yellow, not the orange, to match the cell shading. And that is worth a note as well. I'm not going to go through articulation today. It is the same base body as our previous Wolverine Marvel Legends, so you know what to expect. It's actually pretty good, but we still got the pins as it's a few years old now. But overall, with the dark blue and the dark orange, we even get a little bit of a darker red down the bout. But overall, it's not as bad as I anticipated. It's actually pretty good. This is maybe my favourite Wolverine. That cowl is just spot on. Moving into some accessories, I do want to show you again the claws. The claws are different to any of the previous versions of Wolverine. Now they are newly sculpted. They are all one piece. And again, they are a little bit warped out the box, so still not exactly perfect, but I do think they are an improvement compared to the previous ones, as these would fall out and literally create holes in the fists, where now these new ones are all one sculpted piece. So I do think we will benefit of these in the long run. You're just going to have to get them straight and they'll pose up nice. But we do get a set off. Interchangeable gripping hands. And I do want to note as well, if I spin around to this side, there is no sort of retracted claws on the actual wrists there, on the front of the knuckles. You can see there is no sculpted detail. It's just plain blue gloves, which is a small detail, but for worth of note. The main reason this guy comes with gripping hands is because he comes with something else. He needs to grip. He comes with a picture frame of Cyclops and Jean Grey taken out of the actual animated show. We've all seen the meme of Wolverine sitting on the bed, stroking the picture frame, and people have changed what's in that frame to be many a thing. But the original picture is this picture of Cyclops and Jean Grey. And yeah, it's a nice little Easter egg and an interesting accessory, which will definitely make for some fun posing on the shelf, that's for sure. And it's an actual picture frame as well. You can create a little Marvel Legends shelf. You need to create a little Marvel Legends bed. And what's interesting as well is that there's the picture, but you can sort of pop it out and replace that picture with absolutely anything you want. Like that will come out, and then you can take a picture of anything and put it in there. Now, if I had more time, I would have prepared many of a hilarious photo, but you'll just have to imagine I did that instead. But there you go. You can put anything you want in there other than this picture, which would be pretty funny. But again, let the ACBA people have their fun with that one. But yeah, nice, very unique, and never seen before in Marvel Legends. Picture frame, but it is taken out of the actual animated show. It's literally a scene where Wolverine's sitting on the bed, he's holding it in one hand, he has the claws in the other, and he scratches it out of anger because obviously Jean Grey is not in love with Wolverine. Now you need to use your imagination or create the actual diorama, but I assure you, you can recreate that very scene in Marvel Legends form, which is pretty funny. So again, nice little Easter egg of Jean and Cyclops. Here we have Wolverine compared to Mr. Sinister, the only other X-Men VHS figure I have gotten so far. And just posing these two together already makes me like both of them just that little bit more. And I assure you, as this collection starts to build, I do think we will all appreciate the look they're going for more. It's just going to take some time before we start getting the rest of these figures. But we've got one good guy and one bad guy, both with the cell shading. And as I said, this display I think will definitely look very nice on the shelf once we've got a lot more figures. So again, many more to come, I am sure. But if you want to pose them quite minimalistically on your shelf with the VHS boxes, obviously you can do that and it looks really nice, but you're going to need a lot of real estate on the shelf. And as we start getting more of these figures, it may become a little bit difficult. But again, you pose them up nice. Mr. Sinister literally covers the whole of his box, so you can't even see it. But Wolverine poses nice in front of his box as well, and it is nice to show off the art. But I think what we're really meant to do is spin it around to that side and then display them maybe in front of that sort of backdrop. We shall see. We have plenty of options, many more to come. But for now, Wolverine, Mr. Sinister, VHS, X-Men. Here we have a Marvel Legends Wolverine comparison. Now, this is a lot of them, but it's not them all. Like, there's more. There's a couple of brown suits, there's an Age of Apocalypse, there's a couple of Logans, but these will do for now before I go and dismantle my display. I thought the Tiger Stripe ones were the more relevant ones for this comparison, of course, but they do look all great posed up on the shelf. Like, if you're a Wolverine fan, then you're living in the golden age of Marvel Legend Wolverines, that is for sure. And I was going to swap this new VHS head with some of the other Tiger Stripes because the cowl is much better, but looking, the yellow doesn't match any of them. The yellow's different on them all, so you can swap it, but the yellow would be different. I did, however, want to try an unmasked Logan head on the VHS version, and there has been lots of various unmasked Wolverine heads in Marvel Legends form that I can't go digging through finding right now, but I will try this one real quick, and this is the one that came in the Love Triangle box set. Of course the head pops on there okay because they all share the same base body, but this head isn't really accurate to the Wolverine we see in the animated show. The one in the animated show, his hair has the similar tufts to his cowl to sort of mimic that, but the sort of downwards cowl that comes with the Love Triangle set does sort of match this yellow a little bit more. So you can have a downwards cowl on this body. And again, we have had multiple unmasked Wolverine heads, so I'll try and post some more comparisons on Instagram. But yeah, we're going to have options is what I'm trying to say. And since they're all on the table, I may as well. So here we have the VHS grimacing head on the Love Triangle body. So as you can see, no cell shading, and there's this new bigger cowl. Now the head pops on there really well. I do like the elongated cowl, but as I said, you see that sort of dark orange cell shading on the head. So it just sort of, again, if you can forgive that and you don't mind it, then there you go, the head works. But I know it's there, so I'm not going to allow it in my display. You're disqualified. Here we have Wolverine compared to Cyclops in the bomber jacket, which he wore a lot in the animated show, and Jubilee, who's going to be the next figure we see on this VHS cel-shaded format. And if you think Wolverine looks good compared to two of these comic Jim Lee style X-Men, then I'm sure you'll be happy with him in a comic display if that's what you're thinking about doing. But it's only a matter of time before we get characters like Cyclops in the cel-shaded format, because he's another main player of that show. Here we have Cyclops again in his more iconic uniform, of course, and Jean Grey, the two people on his little photo frame. But of course, it's only a matter of time before we get both of these in similar looking outfits in the VHS format with the cel shading. Hopefully we get a nice upgrade for Jean Grey. We sort of know she's coming, but it hasn't been officially confirmed yet. We've not seen no pictures. And again, a matter of time before we get Scott. But again, they look great. Here we have a comparison I needed to see. It is, of course, Wolverine to, controversially, my favourite X-Man, Hank McCoy, aka Beast. And you'll notice this is the Marvel Legend Beast, but I've got a custom Anthony Customs head sculpt to the Beast from the animated show. So this is technically an animated comparison right now, but surely it's a matter of time before Hasbro give us an official release of Beast on that VHS box. And yeah, as you can tell, they're going to look great together. Here's Wolverine compared to Frogman and Tigra. And last, but of course not least, here we have VHS Wolverine compared to Captain Britain and Hal Fire Hank. Oh no, Hank stole his picture frame. I'm sure he's going to get up to no mischief with that whatsoever. But final thoughts on Wolverine. Like many of you, I'm sure you were apprehensive about this line as you already had the comic counterparts on your display. In your collection, you were happy with these Jim Lee variants. You didn't expect to get this VHS line. And did you really need them just for a VHS box gimmick and the cel shading? Trust me, I was in that camp as well. But now I've got these figures in hand, I have sort of grew a new appreciation for what they are and what they represent. Much like I love the Spider-Man retro cards and I have them displayed because of my love and attachment to that show, this is just the X-Men equivalent of that. But instead of the card backs, they've gone for this VHS gimmick, which is quite unique, not something we've seen before in Legends, and will display it very nice and give you options for display as well. And again, it gives people a new jumping on point to build out this X-Men team. And a lot of you are going to be buying these figures to put in a comic display. And to answer that question once and for all, then yes, these figures will work in a comic display if you don't mind the cel shading. But me personally, my OCD knows they're meant to represent the animated versions, so my brain won't allow it. But they will work just not for someone crazy like me. But as I've got him and Sinister now, I have, as I said, grew this new attachment to this line, and I'm very much excited for the other figures, because as this line grows, I do think my love for this line will grow with it as we start displaying more and we start seeing the team come together all with the same sort of stylized design. And we already know that we're getting some decent figures because we've got them before. It's just now with a few tweaks to make them more accurate to that animated show. So yeah, I'm all in. And we know we're getting Storm, Jubilee, obviously Jean Grey's been leaked, but a few more's on the way. Maybe a Beast. I'd love a Beast, or even a Hellfire Hank. You know, Hank, the Hellfire Goons were in that animated show, Hasbro. Just letting you know, all right? I'll do the reveal for you as well. But until then, if you want to see more Marvel Legend reviews, then check out the videos tab. Find the playlist. But most importantly, please, hit that subscribe button. Much appreciated. You can also hit that join button and become a channel member as well. Either show some love or join the members club. Much appreciated. And come and watch a live stream. I do them weekly. I recap Marvel Legends news, just overall fun toy conversation within the community. And if you hit that join button, you get to be on the live stream. Support the channel, be on the channel. That simple. Go and check out my VHS Mr. Sinister review as well. And as you know, I don't want to get hit with a copyright strike playing that X-Men theme tune. I don't want Mickey Mouse to come and get me. You know, Disney own it now. Anyway, let me throw you over to my super producer to see us out with my copyright-free version of the X-Men theme. Until then, follow me on Instagram at It's Dan Who. I'm on Twitter at Dan Who Reviews. And as always, I shall see you on the next one.
Dan who Dan who Dan who Dan who Dan who Dan who pow.